Give me 1 second. Just getting my lineups updated, and then I don't have to do it later. Crow always throws me off. What is going on, everybody? Happy afternoon out here on the West Coast. On the East Coast, good evening. Hope you're doing well. It's time for the MLB Live Before Lock show. We've got 10 games. We are going to fly through this one. I'm Eric Lindquist. I should probably introduce myself. I'm going to introduce the other guy, though. He's far more important because Neil Orfield at PlayerQ DFS is a fellow Minnesotan, fellow brethren, fellow Timberwolves hat. Yeah, fan. I just saw the hat.
I do have the hat, though.
God, Freud is a effed up mother effer. He knows things. You see the thing. You want to say the thing.
Yeah.
Everybody should know at this point in time I might be scatterbrained from time to time, but I'm actually okay today. How you doing, my dude?
I'm doing great. I'm glad to hear that you're doing okay, but only one of us won a GPP yesterday, and that person was not me. So congrats on your big win in the 20 max yesterday.
Thank you very much. It was fun to, anytime you put $80, because you play the $4 however many times, and you kind of hope you can get that one bullet, basically free roll the entire year in that contest. So
Yep.
It was a good feeling to be able to have that. Prove that I don't completely suck at this every day, right?
I mean, you've been crushing it. What do you mean? Come on, you've been crushing it all year. Your prize picks. Melissa's been loving it. She's been hating you, but loving the picks. And I think everybody else anybody who's been tailing you has been doing well. So you seem to be pretty good at this stuff.
Yeah, hopefully you guys are able to check out the Odd Shopper one. We've got a couple plays. Odd Shopper. Yeah, it's at the Odd Shopper channel is where it's at. It's for prize picks. I feel pretty good about the ones that we have on layaway today. We'll get to that later when we talk some Odd Shopper. We'll talk a little prize picks on the side as well. But first, smash that like button, subscribe button, notification bell, because we're going to fly, Neil. We have less than 55 minutes here to go. 10 games. You ready to just get right into it?
Plenty of time. Let's do it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's what I thought this morning, and we still went over. Here we are. Atlanta Braves 5.3 implied run total at Washington 4.2. Atlanta's going to be an offense we definitely have to talk about, but Josiah Gray, 26% K percentage, talked about some of the contrarian ways that he can work out in lineups for you. My positive leverage guy is back in the house. I'm excited. 9.3% leverage. I mean, that's second best on the board. So obviously, you and I are both clicking Josiah Gray's name today, right?
Damn right. Yeah, he looks great in the top pitcher stool. 2% ownership on Josiah Gray. Are we kidding? 11.3% chance of being a top 2 pitcher, 4.7% chance of being a top 2 point per dollar pitcher. Everything looks good to me there. I definitely have some interest in Josiah Gray. And I'm running a crunch right now. Okay, the crunch is done. I want to see how much I got of him just naturally. I only got 2%. So he's not getting there naturally in Fantasy Cruncher, which is something that I actually like when I'm not getting there just based on his median projection. I'm not getting to a ton of Josiah Gray, but then the simulations that the site runs tell us that he's got a better range of outcomes. He's got a better chance of being a top 2 pitcher than his median score his median projection would suggest. So I then I'll probably give him a little bit of boost and try to get a little bit more of Josiah Gray.
Okay. Well, he's a guy to give a little bit of. It's going to be tough sledding. You have Atlanta on the other side, but at the same time that they're extremely potent and it's a good hitting environment, there are some strikeouts to be had. It's bright blue in my strikeout column. That's a positive. Ozzy Albies, the only guy with any kind of avoidance in strikeout department. Everybody else over 21% that is in the lineup. So that is useful. I don't know about Ian Anderson. I've been seeing some talk. I tried to come up with a reason that I really want to get to him on this slate, and Washington isn't my favorite offense to stack up. That's probably the main reason, but it's still Ian Anderson, and it doesn't feel comfortable. 19.6% K percentage, 10% walk rate, 42% hard hit percentage. There's just some things that don't make him fantasy viable for me this season. I don't know really what's going on entirely. The K percentage just continually plummets year after year. He's only 24, so maybe he finds a spike again, but I can't really do it today. Are you going to Ian Anderson in any lineups?
Probably not. As I said, I ran a crunch of 500 lineups. I got to 0 shares of Ian Anderson naturally, and he does have some positive leverage in the top pitchers tool. So I guess there is maybe some merit to go in there, but that's only because he's getting 0.5% projected ownership. He's got a 7.2% chance of being a top 2 pitcher, 6% chance of being a top 2 point per dollar pitcher. So there are reasons to go there, but I'm probably not going to force it. His odds of being one of the top 2 pitchers are just not quite at the same level as a Josiah Gray, where I feel like I need to really give him a boost.
I found a reason. No, if you had me singing at the 05 mark, go ahead and cash those minus 850 tickets. There you go. Congratulations. Shout out Hoobastank. Good people. Doug, lead singer, good guy. I like him. Actually cousins with one of my best female friends from South Dakota. Small world.
Crazy.
Yeah, Doug, he's good people. The lead singer from Hoobastank. Nothing like his like the reason. That's basically his kid's college fund. That's cool in song form. Nobody cares about that. People care about bats here in this game, though.
Care.
It's fine. You don't have to lie to me. It's okay. Atlanta, 12.5% top stack potential, tops on the board. Not for me. I'm not going to be going to them as much. They're very, very popular. I think they should be. At the same time that I said Gray can miss bats, he is really bad and not a good real life pitcher in any means. So I get it. What are you planning to do with the Atlanta Braves today?
I'm planning to be underweight to the field. In terms of full stacks, I'll probably have some one-offs. I'll probably get a good amount of one-offs. But like you said, the full stack is coming in at 13.5% ownership with only a 12.5% chance of being the top stack on the board, which is the highest by kind of a good amount. So, there's obviously some merit to playing Atlanta. I'm not going to be full fading them, but I'm going to try to get under the field and just get more of teams that are going a little bit under-owned. Yeah, I mean, Atlanta, obviously it's a great spot. If you're 12.5% chance of being the top stack on the board on a slate that has 20 teams on it, that's pretty high. It's pretty high odds of being the top stack. It's just everybody else sees it and they're going over owned. So I'm going to want to be under the field on full Atlanta stacks. That doesn't mean that I'm going to be, I'm still going to be getting plenty of Acuna. I'll probably be getting to a little bit of Ozzie Albies, Austin Riley, Matt Olson. I'll be getting to some Braves. I'm not going to be full stacking them a whole lot.
And on the other side, the Nationals, probably the quickest team for me to talk about. His name's Juan Soto. That's all.
Juan Soto's good. Yeah, I want to play some Juan Soto. I'm sure I'll have some Soto one-offs. They also look pretty neutral. More neutral than they're 4.8% chance of being 4.8% projected stack ownership, 4.5% chance of being the top stack on the board. So a very neutral stack. There's no real reason to they're not one of the top value stacks on the board. No reason to single them out as one of your first stacks that you want to make. But in a 150 set, I would have some Washington. They're close to a 5% chance of being the top stack. That's still pretty good. But yeah, it's not a team that I love. But for sure, Juan Soto, if he fits in as a one-off, play some Juan Soto.
It's great advice. Green Gang, $5 super chat right off the bat. Awesemo, I love you. We love you, Green Gang. I won $6K off $17 on the 7th. Play Sandy on FD. Shout out to the Awesemo team. Let's get this bread. I like all of those things. Eric, which stack scores big? Ask me yesterday. I had it covered. Baltimore, Arizona, and the Yankees, my 3 favorite stacks. They scored some runs, so that worked out well. We might be running it back with a little bit of Arizona today, I think. No spoiler alert, Christian Walker confirmed hitting baseballs very well. But my favorite stack on the day, we'll get to a little bit later. I'll give you a hint. There's 100-degree temperatures. So there you go. That should narrow it down a little bit. How are you feeling? Well, no, we already talked about this game. You ready to move on?
Yeah, let's move on.
All right, Marlins, Phillies. This is going to be the easiest analysis for me ever. Might be able to save some time because I just want the pitchers in this game. They're both very good. Of course, you're going to be getting more leverage because you're going to have a 10-2 Sandy Alcantara. You have Aaron Nola, very, very popular, rightfully so. I legitimately don't have interest in a single bat in this game. It is all about the pitching for me. I will say Sandy going up against the Phillies might be a little bit higher owned for me than Aaron Nola, but I absolutely love both. Do you have a preference between which pitcher you get more of today?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm just making one lineup, it's going to be Sandy Alcantara just because of the ownership. Like you said, so Nola has a 7% better chance of being a top 2 pitcher on the board on DraftKings today. So he has better chance than Sandy Alcantara at 29% for Nola, 22% for Alcantara. But then Nola has 43% ownership, whereas Alcantara is 17%. So I'd rather just go for the guy who's, is 100 more expensive. He's slightly worse odds of being a top 2 pitcher, but he has less than half the ownership of Aaron Nola. So for me, I would definitely prefer Sandy Alcantara here.
Yeah,
but I like them both.
I like them both, though. That's exactly it. I've got 34% Aaron Nola. I have 31% Sandy Alcantara, tomato. I say that every time because I just don't know anymore. I've heard everything under the sun pronouncing his name. Soon it'll be Alcantara, where it'll be like a H with the C, and then I won't believe the person. But yeah, that is kind of it. I will say Miami is just a lot better against right-handed pitching than the field thinks they are, 115 WRC plus, but I'm not going out of my way to rostering any against Nola. If I had to do anything in this game, Schwarber, Harper, and then move on with my day, but even like I'm making 50 lineups, I'm not going to land on any. Are you?
Ooh, maybe it's tough. Probably not. I probably won't. I can see the merit to it just based on the top stack odds. Miami coming in at 1.6% projected ownership with a 2.1% chance of being the top stack on the board and a 3.8% chance of being the top point per dollar stack on the board. So I think Miami would be my preference of the two. We've also seen Aaron Nola. He does get blown up from time to time. The Phillies, 1.3% projected ownership, 1.9% chance of being the top stack on the board, 2.6% chance of being the top value stack on the board. It is in Philly, so obviously you prefer that to the game being in Miami. I can see the merit of playing it. I don't know that I'm going to get there just because it's a 10-game slate. You even if you get these teams right at these low odds, you still have to get the stack right, and you still have to pair them with the rest, fill out the rest of your lineup right. So I'd rather just take shots on teams that have somewhat better odds of being the top stack. So I don't see myself getting to a ton of these teams, but I can definitely see the merit to it. If you want to get a little bit above the field, I think that makes some sense.
Yeah, if either one of these stacks go off, it'll be bleed. That's all, folks. A little bit of that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If they go off and nobody else goes off, then you're screwed. But if they go off and you have a team that gets close to the same score, you're probably still doing fine.
Yeah, you're probably. I can't do it. I'm not going anywhere in this game. Just play pitchers. That is what I want. That is what I need injected into my veins as we move on to Baltimore and Toronto. You want to talk lopsided? Here you go. Kyle Bradish versus Alek Manoah. And I've been known to. I'm definitely not a Kyle Bradish stan. That's the wrong way to say it. But I've definitely been known to affectionately roster this man far, far more than the public. You know what? Hasn't been a fun experience, but he's cheap. There's a lot of cheap pitchers. He's been more serviceable, up to 105 pitches against the Cubbies. They're giving him every opportunity to be good. But it's really hard to be good in Toronto today. So buckle up, fam. How are you feeling about Kyle Bradish here and Alek Manoah, the pitchers in this spot?
Yeah, so I'll start with Kyle Bradish. I think you and I have been on the same page in terms of Bradish. We've both been playing him a lot more than the field because oftentimes when you play Kyle Bradish, people have also been targeting Kyle Bradish with bats on the other side. So it's always a good leverage spot. He's a good strikeout pitcher. You just have to hope that he brings his best stuff. And it has not worked out. The one time I did not play Kyle Bradish was I think it was his second start of the year when he actually did do really well was the time, of course, I didn't play him. So I'm probably not going to play him again here today, which means that you probably should, because I'm not playing him. I've gotten him wrong every single time. I think I'm going to be fading Kyle Bradish here. It's just such a tough matchup with Toronto in Toronto. He does look good in the top pitchers tool, 0.5% projected ownership, 11.4% chance of being a top 2 point per dollar pitcher on the slate, 5% chance of being a top 2 pitcher overall on slate. Those are good numbers. Those are, positive leverage all around. It's just still, it's such a tough spot. And I don't really think you need to take that risk on this slate. So I don't see myself getting to any Bradish.
All right. Our boy, Greg Ehrenberg, this morning on the strategy show talked a little bit about Alek Manoah, and that's kind of his preferred guy in this range. I think that's just fine. Looking at the FanDuel board, where did he go? Where'd you go? I miss you so. I don't see him on FanDuel. Maybe that's just not there right now. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that, but he just disappeared. So if somebody is running everything behind the scenes, is listening to this, go ahead and update the tools.
I just
there.
refreshed.
Be good.
I just refreshed and he's in there now. My top pitcher.
Okay, there he is, 9,800. He disappeared on me. I'm glad
Yeah.
he disappeared for you too, and I'm not taking crazy pills. But 9,800. I prefer Nola. I prefer Alcantara. I prefer Christian Javier. Alek Manoah getting 23.3%. Give me the chance with Javier at really low ownership, but Alek Manoah definitely going to have a couple shares, just not 23.3% of him on DK. For FanDuel purposes, though, I mean, if you're not going to roster Nola and Alcantara, who are much more owned in those kind of ranges, you're starting to get what, 9.3% ownership going towards Alek Manoah. He has 10-8 over there. Maybe that'll lower his ownership a little bit as well. But how do you feel about him in this spot?
Yeah, so I like Manoah. He's negative leverage. According to the top pitchers tool, he's got coming in at 23.3% ownership, 20.3% chance of being a top 2 pitcher, and 6.3% chance of being a top 2 point per dollar pitcher. So no real reason to love him based on the top pitchers tool. I spread out my ownership a little bit. I'm probably going to set my cap at around 30% for all pitchers, and I'm probably going to get to 30% Alek Manoah. He's just going to be, I'm going to be spreading it out among these top pitchers. And so I'm actually going to be probably above the field on Alek Manoah. And I think I'm okay with that just because he is a good enough pitcher that he can obviously get it done. 22.3% strikeout rate, 2.74 expected ERA on the year, 0.96 whip, and about as good of a matchup as you could hope for against the Orioles here. The Orioles have a 2.7 run implied total. So I think that there is plenty of reason to like him. He's not, if I was hand building one lineup, he's not going to make it in there. He's probably not in one of my first 3 lineups. But if you're doing a number of lineups, I think that he's a good enough pitcher in a good enough spot that the floor, I think, is relatively high and the ceiling is fairly high as well.
Sean V, you're something else, buddy. You're something else. Favorite pitchers today, Gray and Steele. That is just incredible. That's incredible stuff from you. I feel like I have to time you out, but I'm not going to. We've already taken too much time making me read that. Let's talk bats. Baltimore, not really going to be going there in any capacity, but Toronto, definitely a team to be talking about. I think we got to be getting some shares of this team. Just so many guys. If you go to the new top batters tool, which is so much fun to go spend some time at, you've got at first base, Vlad Guerrero Jr., 24.55% home run odds. I think that looks lovely to get a guy who hits a homer 1 out of every 4 in this spot. Decent enough kind of return there. You've got Bo Bichette, who's getting tons of ownership at the shortstop position, rightfully so. You can kind of compare where their top 3 fantasy point percentages are, their value percentages based on DraftKings. FanDuel's been added as a tab, so now you can do it on both. It's incredible stuff. Shout out Sean V. I know he had a big part in putting that together, so well done by him. But how are you feeling about this Toronto Blue Jays lineup that just has options everywhere, but do not roster Raimel Tapia? I'm going to be quiet now.
Yeah, so they are a little bit over-owned in terms of full stacking, coming in at 9.8% projected ownership with an 8.3% chance to be in the top stack on the board, 1.7% chance to be in the top point per dollar stack on the board. So I'm probably going to try to be under the field on Toronto as a full stack. I'm still going to get to plenty of Toronto though as one-offs. I think I'm going to get to plenty of Bo Bichette, Vlad Guerrero, George Springer, at least those 3. Yeah, it looks like right now that's kind of all that I'm getting to in terms of double-digit ownership on Toronto. But I think it's going to be more of a one-off spot or maybe a secondary spot where I get a couple of them for me, just the top 3 batters here.
All right. Yeah, it's going to be mixing and matching a lot of pieces of this lineup. Biggio in the 9 hole is actually not even my least favorite batter. As I said, Raimel Tapia, just please don't do anything today because I'm going to have 0 of you. You're awful. What an interesting acquisition for the Toronto Blue Jays. I won't stop saying that. Anytime you can just get a garbage outfielder and trade for him, and you just got to go do it, right?
Yeah. You
couldn't play at Coors Field. All right. That's problematic. Anyway, we move ourselves along. But first, Awesemo Plus tools and content. I hope by now, talking about the top stacks tool, the top pitchers tool, the top batters tool, none of that is free today. We have nothing free on the site today because this tools and content, it's got to be, locked tight today. We've got some good stuff that's available for you, but that's okay because I have 50% off here just using promo code MLB Live, all caps, one word. That's MLB Live. We'll get you 50% off, not just MLB, But NBA, we've got a pretty important little game 5 with some showdown action over on DK, FanDuel, and across the industry. Take advantage of our projections, ownership projections, player projections, everything you could possibly want for that. NASCAR, top drivers tool, golf, US Open week, baby, Brookline. It's going to be great stuff. Get the top golfers tool. Get all of the great tools and content we have for ownership and player projections there. Everything you possibly want. Get with MLB Live for 50% off. Stop guessing, start winning, and joining us. Just join us here at Awesemo Plus today. All righty. I'm just flying as fast as I possibly can, but trust me, this stuff is I'm doing the best I can. 3 down, 3 up, 3 down. Maybe not enough swings and misses, but here we go. Chicago White Sox 4.6 at Detroit Tigers 3.9, and Lance Lynn got obliterated in his 3 starts, but Lance Lynn has enough of a track record where as he gets warmed up, we don't have any radar here. I went to Twitter, tried to find if there was like some scout that just was randomly saying, hey, Lance Lynn is his fastball is just 3 miles per hour slower than it was last year or something like that. Alas, there's nothing to be found in that capacity. All he did was give up a 9 ERA though at AAA Charleston. Not ideal, but he's 5,500 on FanDuel.com. I think that's where we have to talk about him. I have zero interest for DraftKings, but are you going to be getting to any on FanDuel today, Neil?
I did. I ran a crunch just of 150 to set some placeholders, and I got like 2% Lance Lynn. I don't love it. I just don't know that he has the upside to pitch. I don't know that he's going to pitch 6 innings. I think he's probably capped in terms of how many pitches he throws here. And on FanDuel, you kind of need you get a bonus from getting the quality start. So if he's not going to get to 6 innings, I don't know what his upside is. He is only 5,500, which makes him a little bit interesting on FanDuel. I don't think you can play him at 9,600 on DraftKings. As you said, it's just not that interesting. I don't think he has the upside to pitch 100. I don't think he's going to be pitching 100 pitches. I don't know that I care that much about his minor league stats, just because I know that pitchers sometimes, that's kind of where you're testing things out. You might not even be throwing your best stuff. So I don't care that much about that, but I do care about the fact that he's not fully stretched out. So I don't think you can play him on DraftKings. On FanDuel, man, just the fact that he's probably not going to be eligible for a quality start. I do have concerns there, but I'll take some shots. He's not going to be one of my favorite pitchers, but 5,500, that allows you to do anything you want with the bats. So there's obviously some merit to playing him there. How do you think you're going to be playing some Lynn today?
I mean, I've got a little FanDuel and I've got a little Lance Lynn. I will say his ownership's gone down drastically. Earlier today, I'm looking 7.8%. Oh, that's DraftKings. See, that was probably why. FanDuel, I was going to say he was always going to be one of the more popular guys. He's the Mike Minor of FanDuel today, if you will. 16.7% ownership. I'm not going to be getting remotely close to that, but I do have some sprinkles of him. I was a little bit more enthusiastic looking. It's Lance Lynn at 5,500. Oh my God. And you look at some of the AAA stuff and it's problematic. But if you were going to succeed against any possible team in Major League Baseball against right-handed pitching, it would be against the Detroit Tigers, where they have a 65 WRC plus, a 24.7% K percentage against righties. Those are bad numbers and not ideal. And also makes it hard for me to really recommend the Tigers, even with this bad track record of Lance Lynn here in AAA through 3 rehab starts, basically just abbreviated starts. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to get to 0 Tigers today. How about you?
Sorry, I was still looking at Lynn, and I was reading Terry in chat talking about he says that he has interest in Lance Lynn, and he actually thinks that Lance Lynn has a shot at 6 innings today, which that interests me. I mean, Terry's
that's the thing. Like, you don't know. Nobody knows, but you might as well find out when he's 5,500 and not 9,600 on DraftKings. So, yeah. So it's really just an understanding of the situation. I'm not going to play 16% of him, but it is impossible for me to have, I have 50 lineups on DK. I have 40 lineups on FanDuel. It's impossible for me to not have a handful of Lance Lynn lineups.
Yeah, I'll have some on FanDuel. I'm going to fade him on DraftKings. Maybe I'll try and get a little bit more on FanDuel. If he's got a shot at 6 innings against this Tigers lineup, maybe that's worth playing at 5,500. You're right. It is the spot to play him if you're going to be taking a shot on Lance Lynn here. But it will be a scumdacker spot for me. I definitely have some interest in Detroit as well. You said you have no interest in Detroit? Zero. Okay. Just because they're not a good enough lineup to be worth playing? What's your reasoning there?
Because I'm just going to roster all the Pittsburgh Pirates and all the land.
All right.
It is Pittsburgh Pirates Day.
Oh yeah, I can see why that is too.
It's my highest owned stack by a landslide.
Oh wow. Okay. That's
Yeah.
that's a bold take to Pittsburgh.
Sure
I mean,
is.
that's but we'll stick on this game. I think that I will have some Detroit. I'm going to come in. I'll have some Pittsburgh as well, but I think that you got to have some interest in Detroit when they're coming in at 1.1% projected ownership with a 10.9% chance of being the best point per dollar stack on the board. Hard for me not to have interest, and a 2.6% chance of being the top stack overall on the board. So they just have enough positive leverage that I am going to try to get above the field on Detroit. This is a spot where I think the odds are good enough and the value is good enough that I think it's worth taking that chance. Even though, the top stack odds are not great at 2.6%, the top point per dollar stack odds are good enough that I think it's worth taking some shots here, and I'll plan on being above the field on Detroit.
You know who's a better value? The Pittsburgh Pirates by a landslide, actually.
Yeah, that is true. They are. But Detroit is third. I mean, you're not going to be playing.
I know.
Yeah,
I get it. I'm just playing all the Pittsburgh Pirates. Is all what right. I'm doing.
I like it.
Yeah,
I love a stand.
It's not gonna nothing like coming in with a super hot take in hot weather, coming off of hey, good job, Eric. Now back it up. Have fun the next day. Well, here you go. That's going to be my path forward. I'm not going to waste breath or roster spots on getting to any stacks of Tigers. If I get, let me just pull it up. I should just kind of know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have 0 batters. I might even just remove them as I'm even talking about it, but I can guarantee you, like in Cruncher, there's just 0 chance that I'm going to play them and take away from any shares of Pittsburgh I can get to.
All right. That's a fair take. And, I like, sometimes I think people underestimate that you kind of go on streaks sometimes, because after you get a win, you start feeling more bold. And I think you're just feeling emboldened by your big day.
Yeah. Well, also,
I'm just going to trust my gut.
Yeah. Eric, I'm taking Thompson, going to blank Pitts. Well, I'm playing Thompson too. So joke's on you. It's obviously I'm not playing 100% Pittsburgh Pirates stacks. I'm playing more than you would think. I will throw it out there. But one of the things about a 4,300 pitcher on DraftKings.com is that they have a lot of utility down there, especially with Mike Minor pulling his ownership. But I continue on. I've probably talked about that game enough to last me a lifetime ahead of time. Oh, wait, it's the next one up on the board here. But first, White Sox against Ronny Garcia. I have a little bit of Ronny Garcia exposure. He's all the way down at the bottom. I like him more than Kyle Bradish today. I like him more than the likes of Zach Thompson, than the likes of Mike Minor on the very bottom end. But do I expect it to work out a whole heck of a lot? Absolutely not. But the White Sox against righties, not very good. Still under a 20% K percentage, but I think this guy has enough swing and miss generation that he can get by it. It's just a question of if he gets murdered or not. But Ronny Garcia, any interest, and how about White Sox interest on the other side?
Yeah, I think I'll play some of both. I'm getting to a little bit above the field currently on Ronny Garcia. That's on my crunch of 500. So this is obviously not my actual exposure, but in my crunch of 500, I had 9.6% Ronny Garcia, and that lines up with the top pitchers tool. He's coming in at 8.1% ownership, with only an 8% chance of being a top 2 pitcher on the board, but a 24.5% chance of being a top 2 value pitcher on the board. So I think the upside is there at 5,500. He allows you to play any stack you want, not any stack you want, but he allows you to get to some good stacks and a better SP1. So I can see some merit to playing Ronny Garcia. And if I am a little bit above the field, I think I'm happy with that. And then the White Sox on the other side, very neutral in the top stacks tool, slight positive leverage, 5.4% projected ownership with a 6% chance of being the top stack on the board. So a little bit of positive leverage there, 5% chance of being a top 2 or the top value stack on the board. So I have some interest in the White Sox. They are, probably one of my 10 or so favorite teams in the top half for me, but not one of the first 3 teams I'm going to.
All right, cool. Anything else from this one?
No, I think that that covers it.
All right, Pittsburgh Pirates, St. Louis. Ahoy there, mateys. Let's go. Mitch Keller, 19.8% K percentage. No interest whatsoever. Zach Thompson on the other side. I might get to a share or two, but it's all the bats in this hot, humid Caribbean weather for me. How you feeling? Man, uncomfortable? Probably uncomfortable is the right word after that.
No, that was wonderful. You should always do a pirate voice. Zach Thompson, 4,300. I mean, he's the cheapest viable pitcher on the board here, right? At 4,300. So allows you to theoretically get to some stacks that you could not get to elsewhere. Coming in at 11.4% projected ownership with a 37.1% chance of being a top 2 value pitcher on the board. I'll say that again, 37.1% chance of being a top 2 point per dollar pitcher on the board. That is really high. So hard not to have a little bit of interest in Zach Thompson here at 4,300. I'm curious whether I actually got to any. Yeah, so in my crunch of 500, I got to 18.6% of Zach Thompson. Yeah, I'll probably get to some Zach Thompson here. I don't think I'm going to get to any Mitch Keller. He didn't come out in my crunch of 500. He only has a 4.3% chance of being a top 2 pitcher on the board, 3.6% chance of being a top 2 value pitcher. He's 7,800. It's a tough matchup with St. Louis. So no interest in Mitch Keller. Yes, some interest in Zach Thompson.
All right. You ready to do it? You ready to do this thing?
Do you have any interest in either of these teams, Eric?
Yeah, I have a lot of interest. It's 100 degrees and the ball. I was going through 2022 data as far as St. Louis in their ballpark with the pitchers independent of other ballparks. And it seems as though this season the ball might be flying out of St. Louis a little bit more than people think. You can go to Baseball Savant and do some really fun stuff to kind of quantify it, but it's also 100 degrees and I probably shouldn't have to. I have so much of these two offenses today, it's ridiculous. It feels like a Coors Field situation for me. I think Vegas is completely off their rocker. If you are in a sports betting spot, go use BetMGM promotion. Go use any of our great promotions we have with them that are listed on the site. Go get those $450 free bets so that you can fire away on home run props on the over of this game. I think everything is just broken. And I don't think it's being understood enough that if you get the ball airborne with the wind blowing out to left field 10 miles per hour, I have like a weather matrix thing that I use for golf. And I put it in just for fun because I know it doesn't have the exact same utility as far as the way a baseball flies, a golf ball flies. I'm not going to try to figure that out. All I know is that Pittsburgh is way undervalued on today's slate. And so I'm taking an aggressive, this might be the heaviest I am on a stack all season long, because nobody is going their direction. And if you even look at our top value percentages, that was what you love to so correctly cite, 21.9% top value percentage you're looking at from Pittsburgh. Everybody's cheap. Everybody's easy to get to. Their ownership share is low. Their stack score is an 8.4. It's second best. And I hate San Diego, which we'll get to a little bit later here. But my God, Zach Thompson, sure, I'm going to have some shares of him. He's 4,300. He's stretched out. No problem doing that against a bad offense like Pittsburgh. But I think that there's enough guys who can get the ball airborne and get it out there that I think Pittsburgh is probably the team that, you give me one stack in a single entry, you give me one stack to try to win a big GPP. I'm taking them pretty much every single time. I'm going to have Daniel Vogelbach, Sawinski, Hayes, Reynolds, Diego Castillo and Chavez aren't really that good this season, but they're hitting the ball hard, and that's good enough for me. So do you have any interest the way that I do in the Pittsburgh Pirates?
I don't think that I have the same level as interest that you have.
Okay, that's probably fair.
I think it's reasonable to say that. Yeah, they look pretty good in the top stacks tool. As you said, 7.5% projected ownership. So it's not like they're completely unowned here, and only a 4.6% chance of being the top stack overall. So negative leverage in that sense, but as you said, 20.7% chance of being the top value stack on the board. So points per dollar, they've got a 20.7% chance of being the top stack on the board. Hard not to like that. I definitely have some interest in Pittsburgh. I don't know that I'm going to be getting to more than, I don't know. I'll probably cap my full Pittsburgh stacks at like 9 or 10%, I would think. Probably not going to get more than that. Are you going to go, do you think you'll get up to 20% Pittsburgh full stacks?
I have 38% full stack Pittsburgh Pirates.
Okay. I mean,
I put 40% cap on everybody. And you know what I did is I adjusted it for the weather and this happened. So I'm doing it. All right. It's what it says to do. I can play all the Nola and all the Alcantara with it. I can play my boy Christian Javier. I can play a little Manoah. I'm just taking the aggressive. I will take the top pitchers. Everybody else can take Mike Minor and Justin Steele and whoever the hell else they want on the bottom end. I'm going to have a couple sprinkles of them because I really like St. Louis on the other side too. But this game environment and these two teams are by far my favorite two stacks on the board today. Are
you going to do any like full game stacks of Pittsburgh and St. Louis bets?
Yeah,
just like really buy into the weather there.
I mean, I'm just going through all of it. I have so many 5 3s and 5 2s on DK of this game.
All right, that's fun. That's spicy. I hope it works out for you. I am not going to be going as crazy as you are with either of these teams. St. Louis just looks over-owned. I mean, and maybe if this is not factoring in the weather you think as much as it should, maybe this is wrong. But in the top stacks tool, St. Louis 12.7% projected ownership with an 8.6% chance of being the top stack on the board, 4.8% chance of being the top value stack on the board. So they have pretty bad negative leverage here. So I'm going to be coming in under the field on St. Louis for sure. Pittsburgh, I'm more up in the air on, which is funny to say because St. Louis is such a better team. But yeah, I think I'm more likely to get to over the field on Pittsburgh than I am St. Louis here.
I'm just kidding. I knew this was going to be contentious because I've been thinking about it all day, and I've just been trying to figure out a way that I'm going to get away from it. I'm just not. The lineups are made already. There's no turning back now. Come on, Eric, make a stand. I did that. Mike Campbell, good way to torch your win from yesterday. Yeah, that's a good way to. I'm not going to take 4K and burn it into the atmosphere, but very well could. It's just what it is. We're going to play a lot of the Pirates. We're going to play a lot of the Cardinals, 1 through 9, both of them. I just look at this weather and I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it every single time and hope that this is the absolute nuts. So there's that. Odd Shopper. Hey, let's talk some rational stuff and like data-driven decision-making because, I guess that's exactly what this is. I mean, it's a top value situation and then a situation with St. Louis with so much power at the top of that lineup, especially with O'Neill back. And if you look at MLB bets over at Odd Shopper, we have great home run props for you to take advantage of. Easy. All you do is create a login. You just add your email, jump on in there, and you'll have the opportunity to look at MLB, NBA, NHL, even golf bets. You definitely want to check out some of the golf bets. Sam Burns, top 5 and top 10, the best 2 numbers that they had on Odd Shopper with the highest ROI. He finished 4th. I hope you cashed those massive tickets in the golf streets. But MLB has been hot fire as well. Under for 4.5 strikeouts for Chris Archer. I'm not going to call him my boy, Neil. Just because he has a Minnesota uniform on does not make Chris Archer our boy in the year of our Lord 2022. So under 4.5, 80% expected win percentage. That's an outrageous kind of number, outrageous amount of value going that direction. So that makes sense. I love the Rony Garcia over 3.5. Pay attention to the weather. One thing to maybe bring up about that game is there are some lingering chances of some weather throughout. Could be some light rain. Doesn't look like it'll come in till a little bit later, but Rony Garcia, as it stands, I don't think he'll be affected. The over 3.5 there. Both of those are props that I just absolutely love. And then Diego Castillo, total home runs. I'm looking at that game environment, Michael Chavez, all those dudes, positive expected ROIs in the home run department. Might pair a couple of those together. Who knows? But how are you feeling about Odd Shopper? Anything that stands out to you on the MLB board for today, Neil?
So sadly, I just went to Odd Shopper to try to find some interesting picks and learn that I am blocked out of Odd Shopper. I can't log in right now.
You need to log in.
Is that a new thing?
Create a login. God, Neil.
I have not done that. I didn't realize that it was different than my Awesemo login. This is a new thing to me. So sadly, I have not. I can't get in there just yet. I'll set something up though. So next time I'll be able to look at it.
I'm disappointed. Loco's in the chat now.
Minnesota,
he's disappointed.
I can't bet.
Doesn't matter. I'm in California. I have prize picks though, my friend. Prize picks.
That's true. That's a good point.
Acuna, Matata. We're going to fire that up. We're also going to take the under of 6.5 for Mr. Marcus Semien, maybe perhaps the worst baseball player in the history of the world to make as much money as he's making. A true first baseman from Baltimore. What's his face again? Davis. Another Chris Davis situation. Chris Davis, not good once he signed that contract. Marcus Semien, the second coming. There you are. But check out oddshopper.com. Best place to find bets in 30 seconds or less in the MLB, NBA streets. The guys will keep you apprised of everything there. But we must go back to our board, my friend. We must continue on. San Diego Padres, 4.5 implied run. Chicago Cubs, 4.0. Yu Darvish on the mound. Justin Steele on the other side. Sean V's favorite pitcher. Oh, boy. That's interesting. But Yu Darvish, let's talk about him. K percentage is way down to 20.1%. It's a homecoming of sorts. Used to pitch in Wrigley Field quite a bit. Now he's wearing a Padres uniform. Things have changed quite a bit for the 35-year-old with some tires that have been treaded a little bit. Are you getting to any Yu Darvish today?
Yeah, it looks like I'll probably get too close to the field, right around the field, I think. It's a fine spot in Chicago. 12.6% chance, 12.6% projected ownership with a 13% chance of being a top 2 pitcher on the board. 8,400 seems like a reasonable price for you, Darvish, in this matchup. I don't really know what to make. He only has a 20.1% strikeout rate so far this year, so that's not great from you, Darvish standards. 3.94 expected ERA, that's fine. 1.01 WHIP. I don't know what to make. He might be falling off a little bit. He is, I think, like 35 years old, so he's getting up there in age. It's possible that he's starting to come down, but he's been so good for so long that I'm going to take some shots on you, Darvish, until I see a large enough sample size to think that maybe he's done as far as being elite. I still think that he might be elite. I'm perfectly happy to get to a little bit above the field.
Okay. Well, we continue on to the other side of this game. Then we've got Justin Steele on the mound, and I really don't know how I land on this guy. I had a tiny bit that came in earlier. Okay, I have 2 shares of him in 50. Awesome. I don't really have any feedback here. I've nothing to say. San Diego, I know, stands out in our tools. I just don't want to roster them. I don't want anything here.
I mean, Justin Steele, 22.3% strikeout rate. That's pretty good. 3.38 expected ERA is pretty good. 1.55 WHIP, not quite so good. I don't get to any of him naturally, and I'm not going to force in Justin Steele. He just doesn't really stand out as a pitcher you need to have in the top pitchers tool. 0.5% projected ownership. He has positive leverage in the sense that he has a 5.1% chance of being a top 2 pitcher, 5.5% chance of being a top 2 value pitcher. Those numbers are good, but not enough that I'm going to be forcing him into my lineups, and I'm not getting there naturally. So yeah, I'm not going to be getting to any Justin Wood today. I have more interest than you do in San Diego, coming in at 8.6% projected ownership, 8.4% chance of being the top stack on the board, but then a 12.2% chance of being the top value stack on the board. So I'm going to have some interest there. I guess you're going to be playing all of those. All of my San Diego shares are going to be Pirates shares for you, but I think that I do have some interest in the Pirates. They're just cheap enough and good enough that I think that they're worth playing some. Austin Nola, only 2,800 on DraftKings. Luke Voigt, maybe not great, but 3,500. That's a reasonable price for him. Obviously, Manny Machado, always somebody you like to play. 5,400. If you're playing a Padres stack, you're probably going to want Manny Machado in there. Jurickson Profar is only 3,700 leading off, so I do have some interest in the Padres here today. You just want all the Pirates. I mean, that's what it comes down to. You're not going to be playing any of the other value stacks.
Yeah, give me Monica Sawinski. How about that?
Was that a
Monica? That was a. I mean, his name is Jack Sawinski, and
I get it now.
It was a bad joke. I'm done.
It was great.
Anything else you want to talk about here? I don't have anything.
No, I think that we covered everything that we needed to cover there.
I'm pretty embarrassed. I apologize to my family, and I hope that they forgive me. Well, I don't feel good about it. Yeah, that's all I have for the analysis here. Still don't want to play any Cubs. On the other side, we go to Houston, a team I have tons of interest in. Christian Javier, Taylor Hearn. One's good, one's not. I'll let you guess which one it is, Neil.
Yeah, I have a lot of interest in the Houston side of this game in general. Yeah. Christian Javier, yeah, he looks really good. In the top pitchers tool, coming in at only 4.6% projected ownership. That does not make sense to me. He's got a 13.8% chance of being a top 2 pitcher on the board. He's got a 30.4 strikeout rate on the year. That is elite. 3.06 expected ERA, 1.14 WHIP, and he's playing the Rangers. I mean, one of the worst, one of the best matchups in baseball. So, yeah, sign me up for well over the field on Christian Javier here. Taylor Hearn, don't see much to love there. 20.3% strikeout rate is fine, I guess, but 5.72 expected ERA, 1.66 WHIP on the year so far. Not a lot to love about Taylor Hearn. Yeah, he only has a 3.3% chance of being a top 2 pitcher on the slate. It's a really tough matchup with Houston, so not going to be playing any Taylor Hearn. But as I said, I have interest in all parts of the Houston side of the game. Houston is probably my favorite stack on the board. 7.1% projected ownership on the stack, 9.2% chance of being the top stack today. That's really great positive leverage there. So I think Houston is probably my single entry team of choice here. How much interest do you have in everybody in this game? Tell me about your interest level here.
A lot, and it's all the Houston side. I'm going to be shorting. I think if you landed on a share or two of Corey Seager, I wouldn't completely fault you. It's a shortstop that if you go to the top batters tool and you have an opportunity to play around over there, 19.5% home run percentage, highest on the slate according to Awesemo's tools. So I'm thinking Corey Seager is a guy that's all right to land up to, but you're paying the full freight. It's 5,200 for DraftKings purposes. Like, I think we can just find better spots to make some stands. And I just love the Houston side. I'm with you. Christian Javier overall, the guy's just a stud and over a 30% K percentage so far this season, limiting hard contact, 204 expected batting average. The walks can trail up a little bit. He's up to 8.7%, but you look at Taylor Hearn on the other side, 516 expected slugging, 20% K percentage, 11% walk rate. Keep that line a moving, choo-choo. Yordan Alvarez, Kyle Tucker, left on left. That crime never hurt anybody. Well, actually, it's going to hurt Taylor Hearn. So I'm with you. Houston's a team I have a lot of interest in. Anything else from this game for you?
No, I mean, that covers it. I have a lot of interest in both parts of the Houston game. As I said, probably my favorite stack on the day, the Astros, and then Christian Javier just way under owned. So I really like Houston here, but that's all we really have to say about it.
All right, Mike Awesemo. He might not be able to bring up the picture of Zoolander without having a GQ tag pop up on the screen, but he's bringing up a great point. Hit that like button, smash it. We got 3 games, 10 minutes. It's a fun game to try out. We're going to skip the Hall of Fame because let's be serious. We just know that it's me, and we know that it's our friend Jordan Lockhart, who's an absolute stud, who just won up to me with a 5K prize picks day yesterday. No big deal. No big deal.
I love
seeing it
nice.
though. Oh yeah, dude, just smashing the world. We've got next up on the board, Cincinnati, Arizona, talking points all over the place, both offensively and with pitchers, specifically Mike Minor. He's 4,700. He's the value du jour for DraftKings purposes. He's the Lance Lynn of DraftKings, if you will. How do you feel about Mike Minor at his current ownership, which is a lot, nearly 30%?
Yeah, I'm going to be under the field on Mike Minor. I get it. He is only 4,700, but he's getting 28.1% projected ownership. That's just too high relative to his odds of success. 7.3% chance of being a top 2 pitcher on the board. He does have a 32.6% chance of being a top 2 value pitcher on the board. I think I prefer Zach Thompson at lower ownership and a lower price tag over Mike Minor. You probably don't like hearing me say that as somebody who loves Pittsburgh here, but just Zach Thompson's coming in so much lower owned that I would rather go to Zach Thompson of the two of them. And I'm going to be under the field on Mike Minor here. The 21.1% strikeout rate so far this year, that's fine. But 7.95 expected ERA and 1.44 whip. And we've got nearly 30% of the field going there. I'm going to want to be under the field on Mike Minor here. Who do you prefer between Mike Minor and Zach Thompson?
Neither. But Zach Thompson, I actually have shares of.
Okay.
I have 0% Mike Minor today.
I like that. I think that's a perfectly reasonable decision.
I don't get it. Like I don't understand Mike Minor's ownership today, and it's not a pitcher I'm all that enthusiastic for. Plus, I think there's a lot of really good value stacks that people aren't respecting. And I think that there's a lot of ways to piece together, even St. Louis in 100-degree weather. You have 4 outfielders that are all under 4K for DraftKings purposes. You go to a team like Toronto, where if you want to go for the expensive bats, that might be the one deterrent that you get, but they're all so popular, especially the top 4 on FanDuel purposes, that it's like, I just don't find myself needing to go down to the bottom for a lot of these pitchers. So yeah, Mike Minor, complete X off of my board. I also respect the Arizona offense a lot more than just about anybody else. And they put up 13 runs to make me feel smart yesterday. So that's cool. Christian Walker. I knew that was going to happen eventually. Christian Wood. I love him too, for DFS purposes. NBA shout out Houston Rockets, but Christian Walker definitely going to be a piece that I get to quite a bit as a one-off. Arizona as a stack. Great. Cincinnati, really no interest going there. But do you have any Merrill Kelly interest for Arizona?
Yeah, it looks like I'm going to get a little bit above the field, and I think that is a reasonable spot to be. He's coming in at 9.8% projected ownership with a 10.5% chance of being a top 2 pitcher on the board. It's a reasonable spot. It's a very neutral play. He's not somebody that I'm going out of my way to force into my lineups, but I'm going to take the shares that I get of Merrill Kelly. I think he's a good enough pitcher to do well in this matchup with the Reds. Strikeout rate, not great this year. 19.8% strikeout rate so far this year, but a 3.8 expected ERA, 1.32 whip. He's a serviceable pitcher in a solid matchup with the Reds. So I'm going to take what I get. It'll probably be around 10% of my lineups. I'll have Merrill Kelly, but I'm not going to be forcing him in there, even in this matchup. Are you going to be playing some Merrill Kelly?
A little bit. I like him as a real life pitcher. He's good for year long stuff. He's going to help you in terms of whip, ERA. He's going to do all of those things, but not really for DFS here today. I think I can find better spots, even though Cincinnati, I think the only guy I have like any shares of is Joey Votto. He's the only person I think I have from Cincinnati in any lineups. But Arizona, the more pressing team for me to talk about because I just like their offense and the profile of certain guys that, at a catcher position, Varsho always ends up being pretty popular. I think left on left, this is kind of the time to maybe be playing him. 4,300, he's sub 10% in terms of rostership. You get Carson Kelly back, and that's kind of been the reason why that we're seeing that. So I get it. In the 6 hole, he's somebody that you can be rostering as well. But there's just a number of bats, whether it's Marte, whether it's Luplow, who's leading off and he's going to be very popular. He's probably the one guy to be shorting here a little bit more so than the rest, but no doubt about it. It's an Arizona offense. I'm going to get to a little bit against the more popular pitcher in Mike Minor. No Merrill Kelly for me, but yeah, Arizona offense. Any interest?
Yeah, I have some interest. They actually have negative leverage in the top stacks tool, coming in at 7.6% ownership on the stack, 4.7% chance of being the top stack on the board, 6.1% chance of being the top point per dollar stack on the board. So none of that looks great, even with the leverage on Mike Minor. But maybe that makes them more interest as one-offs, even though people are full stacking them a little bit too much. Probably they're not many people are going to be using them as one-offs because they're going to have Mike Minor in their lineups. They're not going to be playing batters against their pitchers. So I think that I do have some interest in Arizona as one-offs, and it's an interesting spot that they have 2 players who are only eligible at catcher in Dalton Varsho and Carson Kelly, and both look pretty good. And they're both going a little bit maybe lower owned than they should because you can't play both of them in the stack. But I think both of them could make sense as one-offs, and I will be playing a good amount of Arizona batters as one-offs. It looks like I'm getting to a lot of Jordan Luplow. Actually, is my highest owned Arizona bat. All of the top 5, 6 batters, I'm getting to a fair amount in this stack.
Yeah, I think that that's going to happen a lot organically in Cruncher. I mean, he's just going to be extremely popular as a result. So I totally get it. We move on. 2 games to go, 4 minutes. Kansas City Royals, San Francisco Giants. The main talking point here is Alex Wood, who is garnering quite a bit of attention for DraftKings purposes. Over on FanDuel, less so. I'm very curious where his ownership is going to come in for that site specifically. 8,600. He's at 16%, but there's enough ways to get up to those top end guys. I think it probably comes in a little bit lower than that. I would be surprised if he ended up around 16%, but definitely 23% on DK sounds about appropriate at that number, 8,300. He's kind of the only guy in that mid-range that's garnering any attention. I'm just skipping it all together. Is Alex Wood somebody you got your eye on at all?
Yeah, I'm going to get to some Alex Wood. Looks like I'm getting around a quarter of my lineups in the crunch of 500 got to Alex Wood, and I think he's a good enough pitcher that I do have some interest in getting there. His numbers haven't been outstanding so far this year. 23.3% strikeout rate is good, not elite. 3.91 expected ERA is fine. 1.34 WHIP is fine. He's pitching well though. His fastball is as fast as ever. He's only 8,300. He's in a matchup with the Royals. I think that there are plenty of reasons to like Alex Wood here, and the field isn't getting there a ton. Actually, no, that's wrong. The field is getting to 24% Alex Wood.
A lot.
So he does have negative leverage in terms of the top pitches tool. 24% projected ownership, 12.9% chance of being a top 2 pitcher, 8.8% chance of being top 2 point per dollar pitcher. So yeah, I don't love that, seeing that major negative leverage on Alex Wood. I still think I'm going to get to some probably actually close to the field here. But if I were hand building, he's not one of the first pitchers I'd go in there, because if you're hand building, that's where I'm more likely to take advantage of the leverage spots in the top pitchers tool.
All right, love it. We continue on to the other side. Brady Singer on the mound. I have like a couple shares, 1.16 whip, huge ballpark upgrade compared to playing Kansas City in 100-degree weather like we've seen in some spots, or 85-degree weather. That's a little bit of hyperbole from me. I'm known to do that from time to time, but I will say Sal Perez, Melendez, 2 batters I'm getting to here. Brady Singer as a pitcher, not really getting there. Kansas City, anything that stands out to you from them?
Yeah, I'm not getting to a ton of Brady Singer. It looks like I'm under the field. He looks fine in the top pitchers tool. In terms of the top stacks tool, I'm not even finding Kansas City here.
It's because they don't exist.
I found them. All right. I was looking for the gold. They're blue in the top stack stool. All right. 0.7% projected ownership on Kansas City, 2.4% chance to be in the top stack. I don't know. I'm not going to go out of my way to get to Kansas City in a matchup with Alex Wood. I think he's a good enough pitcher, and they're in San Francisco, so not a lot of reason to love Kansas City here. Yeah, it's not a strong recommendation for me. They're a fine stack if you really want to get there. It's not like Alex Wood is somebody you can't beat, but they don't look that great in the tools.
All right, smash the like button, everybody. San Francisco on the other side. Giants, Jock Peterson, maybe a couple shares. Sweet, cool, good talk. Glad we had it. Minnesota Twins, Seattle Mariners. We've got Chris Archer, Chris Flexen on the mound. I don't think either Chris's are guys who I'm going to get to at all. How about you?
Yeah, not planning on playing either of the Chris's.
So let's do offense here. Our Minnesota Twins, they're about appropriately owned. It's kind of like meh on this kind of a slate. Buxton's under 5K. He's going to be popular. I get that, but I do have more Seattle interest on the other side. We're getting to a couple shares of this stack. Somebody that Greg had highlighted on the earlier one. Round it out for us. What stands out to you in terms of stacking in this game?
So I'm going to lump in San Francisco as we're here as well, just because I actually do like the San Francisco stack better than I think you do. 2.4% projected ownership, 3.6% chance to be in the top stack on the board, and 5.1% chance to be in the top value stack on the board. I think San Francisco, of these three teams, I'll just rank these teams. I think that I have the most interest of any of them in San Francisco, although Minnesota is not far behind against Chris Flexen. 4.6% projected ownership, 5.5% chance to be in the top stack on the board. Love that. And then Seattle, yeah, I don't have, I guess, man, they all three of these stacks look pretty good. I'd probably want to be above the field on all of them. Seattle actually does have pretty good leverage here at 1.8% projected ownership, at 3.5% chance to be in the top stack on the board. It's hard to rank them. I like all three of these teams. I'll just leave it at that.
All right, guys, that was the MLB Live Before Lock show. Smash the like button, subscribe button, notification bell. You guys are the best. Thank you so much to Mike Awesemo down there, doing a fine job per usual, and especially to my co-host there, Neil. Awesome stuff. We've got the NBA Deeper Dive Live Before Lock coming up here, but as we get out of here, Neil, any final words for the people? Things they must know going into this MLB slate?
No. Good luck tonight. Go crush it.
Go Pirates. How about that? He's Neil. He's just lovely. Look at that.
Go Pirates.
I'm Eric. I don't know why I shaved my beard. I feel insignificant. Goodbye.